ended DEI in America. We ended DEI in America.
As you know, the president has depicted a former president and first lady as apes. The behavior has been declared racist by a good many people. But I don't think the president has really received the message that is unacceptable. He seems to think that he can do these dastardly things with impunity. Tonight, I wanted him to have a person confront him and let him know that Black people aren't apes, that Black people are not going to tolerate this kind of behavior. I don't speak for everybody, but I speak for people of goodwill who understand that if you tolerate this kind of behavior, you perpetuate it. I refuse to tolerate this level of hate that the president is in fact putting into policy. We must take a stand against this level of invidious discrimination. I wanted him to know and I wanted him to see it and hear it up close. But judging from the expression on his face, he got the message. He saw it, he got the message, and I hope that others will let him have a similar message so that he will discontinue this behavior. Now, there are people who believe that I should not take a stand such as this. There are others who have taken stands, and they too have been vilified. Dr. King went to jail for taking a stand. Rosa Parks went to jail for taking a stand. Sometimes you have to take a stand. Rosa Parks was alone when she was arrested in a racist southern town, but she was there. There are times when it is, on some issues, better to stand alone than not stand at all. As you know,
Good morning. Good morning. Peace and love. Welcome to Black Press USA's morning show, Let It Be Known. Black Press is celebrating 199 years. 199 years of giving you Black news across this entire United States. So know that when we come to you with the ancestors. We come to you with Black newspapers that you are reading in your community chat. And I want to welcome in our co-host for the morning. She's a communication strategist, a PR extraordinaire. And she's running for mayor, and she's going to tell you where and why. Welcome, Amy Malone. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning, Neil. How are you this morning?
I am good, feeling, good, feeling, marking myself safe from the State of the Union last night. Marking myself.
Well, good.
I did. Good. I watched probably up until the hockey team, the U.S. hockey team came on, and then I did a Kendrick Lamar, and I turned the TV off. I was like, this is a circus. He ain't talking about nothing. Kendrick also said, what they talking about. They ain't talking about nothing.
Nothing. I didn't even tune in. That was my, I just refused to give him ratings because of his ego. For me, it was, there's nothing he's going to say tonight that he has not said. There's nothing that he's going to do that's going to shock me. So where I know how to hurt him, the president his ego is hurt by numbers.
Off. We just saw when we came in, the first video was, we got rid of DEI. So basically, and you see white people stand up clapping. So basically, we got rid of the Black people. The federal government, those were mostly Black jobs. We got rid of it. You know what I'm saying? We have companies like Amazon. We have companies like UPS. They're laying off people. You know, Black women are the highest hit by this Trump administration. And basically, DEI was called word for we got rid of all of them.
Rid of all of us. No, that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. And he's proud of it.
Right. And let's go to our brown people. You know, we're deporting them. We putting them. We're helping Geo and Core Civic make money. We putting up more detention centers, quote unquote prisons all across the country. We got rid of the Black and brown people. That's what he meant when he said we got rid of
DEI. Absolutely. But it's not the fact that Trump said it. It's the fact that you saw people stand up and clap. Right. They were clapping about it. They were happy, Neil, which means that this is how many of them have felt for years. This is not new. And unfortunately, matter of fact, it's not unfortunate. It's fortunate that Trump has brought a lot of attention and clarity to what was foggy before. So where we thought people were, happy about, what
the growth,
the opportunities for all. We realize they are not happy about the opportunities for all, just a chosen few, and they are that chosen few.
Yeah. So when I heard that, those are all of the things I heard. And then we saw the second video by Texas Rep. Al Green, who has been in Congress for a long time and seen a lot of presidents come and go. But if we recall, he got kicked out of the chambers last year. And once again, standing on business, okay? Last year he was standing on business, and this year he was standing on business with his sign, Black people are not apes.
He did. He's made a decision that's best for him, and that is to stand loud. I can't argue that point. I know that Hakeem Jeffries, wanted everyone to, wanted all the focus to be on President Trump, and no, loud protests from the Democratic side. But I do, and I personally agree. Like, I think that either you just don't show up. That's how you hit him. I keep saying the same thing. If President Trump can see a whole half of the room empty, it shakes him. And
I think that's a tactic, but I also think that sometimes, we're not doing business as usual. And, Republicans don't have decorum. They act like trailer trash. And so sometimes, you have to do the same thing. I wish that I would have saw a lot more women have signs that said pedophile. You're a pedophile.
Right.
I would love to have seen that in conjunction too. Al Green is representing the civil rights, the older Black experience of the Black and white and calling us apes and N-words. But I would have liked for some women to stand up. You had survivors in that room, but I would like to see congressional for all them women wearing white up in there. I wish they would have had signs that you're a molester, you're a pedophile. Tell them. That's why I cut the TV off. It was too polite for me.
So I think it was polite, but I also think that, when he says that, you know what? I'm sorry, Neil. My phone, my device is plugged up, but for some reason it's not charging. Give me 2 seconds to just push it down to charge it.
Okay, cool. Okay, so while she's talking about that, let's go to the chat. I see you guys have a lot to say this morning. So Rex Trek says, yeah, we know who they are. Jeffries is useless. Rex Trek says Schumer and Jeffries are useless. Okay. And then 11 Bio says, I'm going to come to you guys. What a gross guy. Dr. Miller says, this is a campaign billboard on my way to work here in Texas, which reads, send immigrants home. That's what they're saying in Texas. Send immigrants home. And we're talking about having decorum to a reckless Klan. This isn't business as usual. Dr. Marilyn says she's passing a billboard that reads, "Send immigrants home." And don't forget, they're sending Black people to places, and they've been veterans, they've been citizens, they have their documentation. So if you think that they're not talking to Black people too, come on, y'all. Rex Trek says Al Green don't take no shit, unlike weak Jeffries. David Youngblood says, I'm proud of Al Green. Mike V says no mention of Renee Good or Alex Preddy. I mean, no mention at all. Like I said, I tuned out. I saw Ilhan Omar, sparring with the president, and the other congresswoman. I think her name is Talib. Can somebody put her name in the chat for me? Help me out. I saw them sparring, but it was just and then walking the U.S. Hockey team in there, and I'm gonna tell you when I turned the TV off, because we know Amy's back. Hey, Amy, welcome back.
I apologize. I never let that happen. That's very unprofessional. Please forgive me.
It's okay. Let's keep going. I was talking about the moment where I checked out, which was when the hockey team, the U.S. hockey team, and I applaud them. I thank you for representing us and bringing home the gold. He paraded them down, but what turned me off, because we all seen the headlines yesterday of the women's hockey team declining his invite. They said no. They said no. He got up there and said, and the women will be here next, as if he gonna bully them to come to him. And then it reminded me of the Epstein files.
Mm-hmm.
He treats young girls, how he treats women. So for him to say, oh, and the women, and they told you no.
Mm-hmm.
Young girls told him no too. And he took advantage of them, because we know yesterday those Epstein files started saying things about him and young girls.
Mm-hmm.
So he did that. I was like, I'm out. He is gross. And I don't understand why any of them Democrats went in that room. That nasty pervert.
Neil, but he's been showing who he is. And we've accepted it over and over. We've accepted Trump's behavior for years. And he continues to push the line because he realizes no one is pushing back. Well, I won't say no one is pushing back. What I will say is they're not pushing hard enough. And they're accepting the behavior, especially for those who have represented us and represented us so well. For him to bully them, it's unacceptable. And I'm upset that the men didn't stand with the women. No, we won't be showing up.
The TV off. I think this is part of the problem. Taylor Wolf says Black Americans can't be deported. There was a U.S. veteran, served this country, had his documentation paperwork, U.S. citizen. They deported him a couple weeks ago. Don't tell us what this Klan administration will not do. They are deporting Black people. They are deported. Once you have your papers and your citizenship, you are American.
An American citizen.
You are an American citizen. And so there is no difference between, none of us. We're all immigrants at the end of the day from our ancestors. Unless you're talking to the Indians and some of our brown brothers and sisters, because we took parts of that from them. Unless you talk about that, oh yeah, baby, we could be deported.
But this is the thing. It's not only Black and brown people. It's not just us, because there's some immigrants who don't look like us either. If they're going to start deporting people because of papers, then Trump needs to look in his own backyard. Bottom line.
And here's the thing. It ain't even about, for a Black person, you shouldn't be you should be concerned about possibly being deported because of this reckless, unqualified, no strategy Klan administration. But you should be concerned about possibly being put in a jail, prison, or detention center, because every detention center that they're building, it doesn't necessarily mean it's just going to stay for immigration forever.
Right.
And, and Core Civic are making money each bed that is empty means they're not making
They're
money.
losing money. Exactly.
And they're gonna have to fill those beds. And prime example is Chicago. Okay. Taylor Wolf, prime example is Chicago. In Chicago, last year, when the ICE raided a Black apartment building that had some undocumented immigrants, they took all the Black people out.
Yes.
You know what they told the Black people? Well, if you have a warrant, we can still detain you. But they was looking for undocumented, dangerous immigrants.
Yes.
But Black people got pulled out, and the Black people that are U.S. citizens that they pulled out, they told them, well, if you have a warrant, we can detain you.
We can do.
So don't get it twisted that they not coming for us. They didn't already came for Black women and our jobs. And so
Absolutely.
it frustrates me when I see that happening, and I see Democrats being what Langston Hughes called docile, meek, and mild.
Well, and I think for me, Neil, what bothers me most is we have right now a problem with uniting and taking a united stand. So I look at Representative Green and what he did, and I completely understand his reasoning. Why? He wanted to make noise. He wanted to make sure that President Trump saw how he felt. And I don't take away from that. Not at all. But we need to unite. That is the problem for me with the Democratic Party right now, is we don't have a united message, one message that we're sending forth. And that's what I think we need right now. But we do need those who protest. But we have to understand, too, when you talk about a Dr. King, and this is what I was saying before, is Dr. King was organized. That the protests were organized. The thing, even if somebody was sitting alone, it was organized. We knew that that's what was going to happen. That was the plan. And without a plan in place right now, we are not pushing it forward the way that we need to. And I want to see us make a united stand.
I want to see us make a united stand, but I want us to be a little more forceful. And
you want us to be a little more aggressive about that stand.
Yeah, I needed to see, those women, those victims from the Epstein files were in the room, but they were ignored.
Mm-hmm.
They have being ignored. That's the issue. So for every Congress member that invited a woman from the Epstein files, they should have had a sign like Al Green and stood up and said, pedophile, victim. The victims deserve justice. That's what their sign should have been.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 1-2 punch.
Right. And I agree. So that's what I'm saying. So when you have one doing it and then it's not followed up with someone else, another protest, the women standing there, unfortunately to me, it didn't make, it wasn't as powerful as I wish it would have been, because it was, don't use them as props. Make sure that there is an actual, we're making an impact. There's a call to action. Stand up. I don't care if they're all wearing black, if they're wearing whatever it is, there has to be a unified call to action. I would have been happy if they would have all went into the chamber and all at one time stood up and walked out.
That's another sign of protest. They could have had pedophile. They could have had call your senator and tell him to release the Donald Trump Epstein files. We tired of Prince Andrew. We tired of the CEOs being fired or
the distractions.
Release the Donald Trump Epstein
file. Right.
You need to get some stronger comms people. That's all I'm saying. That's why you're here.
That's why I'm here. You're right. You are absolutely right.
We're going to get into how you are pivoting into a role of civic duty. I want to talk to you about that a little bit later. But first, I want to do our morning poll. I see some of Trump's clan is in the chat this morning. They always love to come over here when stuff like this happens, like the State of the Union or something happens. But like I say, we don't go into the clan YouTube channels or the racist youth do. We don't give a damn, but they love to deal and bother Black folks. I don't know what it is about it. We like bees and, and honey. We like honey. They just love to be around sweet stuff, but
they
cool.
love it.
All right, y'all, here's the morning poll. Because we're going beyond the circus last night. How do you want to see our Black leaders respond to the current administration's agenda? How do you want our leaders to respond? Is it A, protest loudly, B, boycott entirely, C, stay at the table to negotiate and find wins, or D, focus 100% on local and state power instead of DC? So take a look and put your letters in the chat. How do you want our Black leaders to respond? Protest A, B, boycott, C, stay at the table, or D, focus on local and state issues. Let us know how you feel about that. And we'll continue. Well, before we get into more of the State of the Union, Amy, so you have been a long time PR and communication strategist here in LA. You've done for politicians. You've also done for Hollywood. So I can't wait to talk to you about a couple other fun topics. But why did you decide to run for office? And tell us, what you're running for and where you're running at.
Neil, I am running for mayor of San Bernardino, the city of San Bernardino. I moved out to the Inland Empire about 10 years ago. I moved into San Bernardino, the city of San Bernardino, about 5 years ago. And I realized when I got here that the city has an image problem. When I first came, I did not want to buy a home in San Bernardino because of the reputation of the city. And I didn't know much about it, but the things that I knew were not positive. When my realtor brought me here and I saw how beautiful the area is and, the home that he brought me to, and my backdrop is the mountains and, up 15 minutes away, I can go to Lake Arrowhead and it's just a beautiful city. I fell in love and I started meeting some of my community members, the neighbors here. And I'm going to tell you about San Bernardino. If you don't know anyone here, you should get to know someone here because they have pride like no other. They love this city. People who have grown up in this city love this city. The family unity here it's amazing. It feels like when you live here, it feels like a small town in a very large city. So the people here, you have families who've known each other for generations. And that to me is something very special. But what they have seen is the decline of this city. They have seen this city jobs be taken away. They have seen a robust downtown area turn into a ghost town. They have seen the corruption in our government take over. And so for me, it became apparent that there was change needed. Not the norm, there was change needed. So there have been times that I have gotten up and I've gone to the city council meetings. A couple of years ago, actually, I went to a city council meeting to protest the hiring of an unqualified city manager. And during that time, while I was speaking at the city council meeting, the podium, there was a Zoom bomb. And there were people that came in and they called me the N-word, go back to Africa, you bitch. All of these different things were said to me while I was standing there, doing what I know that I have the right to do, and that is exercising my civic duty. And when that happened, I realized then that there's a problem because they didn't turn off the person immediately. That person was able to speak for about a minute and throw out all of these racial slurs. And then the way that the administration handled it wasn't immediate. They didn't apologize immediately. They didn't contact me and say that this is something that we will not stand for. They did not come out against it immediately. I had to speak against them. I had to say, hey, this happened and I haven't heard from the mayor's office. I haven't heard from the dais. I haven't heard from anyone on the dais. I had to say that, and I had to say it loud. I had to do what I do for a living, which is contact the media
and start talking about what happened, because I wanted others not to be afraid to go up and speak against the things that they were concerned about. That's your right as a citizen, is to speak at a city council meeting, is to make your voice heard. And when that is taken from you, then someone has to address that. And that comes from the top, and it didn't happen. It only happened after I spoke to the media, after I was on 5, 7, 11, and 4. Then they wanted to speak to me about it. Then I got a phone call from the mayor, but that was too little too late, because to me, then it's insincere. You speak up against racism immediately. Right. That is something that should have happened immediately, and it did not. So I decided then that I was going to do something. It was the timing. And I realized that now is the time. It's time for change. If I want to see change in this city, and I believe that the residents of this city deserve more than what they are receiving from the current administration, I don't want to talk about it. I want to be about it. And it's time for me to run for mayor of San Bernardino. And that's what I'm doing.
See, once again, Black women taking, something that happened to them, maybe it's disrespectful, maybe it is horrific, and turning it into action for their community. I mean, that's one of the things that we as Black women do. Are you running in the primaries for June? Are you going to be on the ballot in June?
Yes, I am. Yes, okay. I am. I'm on the primaries for June. I'm running. There's right now a slate of 7. There's a slate of seven, including the incumbent mayor, the current mayor. I believe that the city needs somebody who's not attached to any past administrations, because that has been the problem. The ongoing problem is those who have been in power in the past continue to control our city. And that's not benefiting the people of this city.
Another thing that you brought up, and I think that, from looking at this from a wide eye to like just what happens to Black people in general, when you were talking, I was thinking of the BAFTA Awards. And you talked
absolutely
about how the comments kept coming and nobody stopped it. And we saw what happened to Mr. Delroy and Michael B. Jordan.
No immediate apology.
No immediate
apology. And they allowed it to air.
They allowed it to air. And the host said, if it offends.
If you are offended.
If
you are offended.
You know what I'm saying? Like an apology. But those are microaggressions.
Yes.
The white folks in the chat, those are microaggressions or big aggressions that happen to Black people on national and international stages and in local communities.
It is. But it's been accepted, Nielle. That's the problem. It's being accepted. It's people who are accepting the fact that these things are happening to Black people, to brown people, to all. That's the problem. I don't care what it is. Racism against anybody is wrong. And anyone who sits back and is complacent with it, then you are okay with it. You can't teeter on the fence to me with that. Either you are against racism or you are for racism.
Okay, so let's go because we did get some answers to our poll, and I want to definitely talk about those. And then I have another comment on the other side about what I'm seeing in the chat too. So Helen Brown says A and B, which is protest loudly, boycott entirely. That's what she feels like, our leadership should be doing. Dr. Marilyn says D, which is focus 100% on local and state. And she also says B, boycott entirely. And the people are doing it if we think about the Target boycott. And then Michael Carter says for the poll, he says one approach won't do. We need all of the above. No strongly worded letters. That's what he says. And I'm looking at the chat and a couple of people are saying, all these women are angry, but Joe Rogan is angry. I see white men spitting in microphones on YouTube all day. I see white men turning red and spitting on microphones all day, but we can't be.
Well, we are. Nielle, We are called angry when we are passionate. We can be passionate about something and all of a sudden we are angry. But we have every right to be emotional about everything that is happening to us, whether it be angry, whether it be passionate. That is our right to stand and protest.
To spit in microphones, turn red in the face, and that is their right too.
It is.
But when I see this stuff, the next poll question I want to have, do you think racism is a disease? And do you think a lot of these Klan men and these white men that constantly, do you think they have a disease? Or
No.
That's my question. Yes or no? Do you think that racism is a disease?
Racism is learned. Racism is a learned behavior. Racism starts in the homes usually. That's not something, they weren't born racist. That is something learned. Okay. Little children play together from a young age and don't worry about color until someone teaches them different. That's not a disease. That's learned behavior.
Somebody says Satan is racism. I could believe that because this is spirit. He talked at Eve into biting the apple. He did do that. Okay, Orange G says, keep it real. You can't have a conversation with those wannabe racist Trump supporters. I don't think they wannabes. I think they are racist.
I think they are. They're not wannabe.
They are white supremacists. I think that they are the Klan. And I think that, they are a plague that we had got, like the measles. You know how the measles come and they go, or and they attack. It's like they had been pushed. We had curved the illness, and now it's back,
and it's popping back up.
So let's move on. As we're talking about races, and I'm talking about political races that are happening and candidates that people are looking at. We talked about Gavin Newsom yesterday and his trending moment that's happening. And I think that even with the Gavin Newsom things, we look at it like Black Californians look at it different from like Democrat operatives or people from the outside looking in, because, Gavin Newsom, he denied Black women, and remember when Kamala Harris went to be a senator, I was a senator or a vice president, and he promised to put a Black woman in her spot. Why that was so important. It's not just putting a Black woman in the Senate. It was critical because at the time she was the only one. And what we're saying to him is that Black women need representation in the Senate. And we were out in front of buildings. We were like, hey, you made this promise. He put Alex Padilla in the spot.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Then reparations comes around. Steve Bradford pushes through some important bills. Black folks do a 2-year study, okay? And we come up with these bills. And he sends the Black legislators to veto the bill because he didn't want to be the governor to do reparations.
To do it.
He wanted to run for president.
He did not want that as his legacy.
Right. And so when we see Gavin Newsom, we see him in his wholeness and in his fullness. And for me, when I saw him talking to a Black man because I never saw the audience. So I get what you're saying about the audience was 60% white and the rest was Black. Well, to me, Gavin Newsom always talks, and he knows how to talk to two audiences at the same time. Just like reparations. He gave it to us, but he really gave us another study.
Yes. Yes, he does.
Study, you know what I'm saying? So he talks with two. So that's the Gavin Newsom that we know. But it is what it is.
But you have to realize too, Niall, though, as the Democratic Party, we have to prepare. It was our responsibility, and it is our responsibility to run a viable candidate. And when we're put in the position where we have a Gavin Newsom, as the strong candidate, in spite of the behaviors that he has shown us, then that makes us question, how are we choosing our candidates? And why are we not grooming our candidates from a young, when they're new in this, in politics, and helping them to to move forward. We should be grooming, because the other side, Republicans are grooming their candidates. We are just not doing a very good job of that, you know, and I'm believing that we are going to start turning that around, but we have not done a great job of that.
Right. And so former Vice President Kamala Harris, she left the door open on Monday when asked if she's considering another run at the White House. She told podcast host and author Sharon McCone that everybody, she told them, I haven't decided. So she says she hasn't decided if she's running for president again. Chat, let us know if you who would you want to be your nominee, because right now the strongest candidates are looking like a Gavin Newsom, and if she says she hasn't decided, you know, she has that right. She could be a nominee. So who would you want to be your nominee if it were those two, or are you still looking for another candidate? So if you want, who would you pick? Kamala? Would you pick Newsom, or would you pick? Are you looking for somebody else?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
It's coming. Okay, they're chiming in. Everybody wants what they want.
What do they want?
Jazz user LE4PL says Jasmine Crockett for president. Rex Trek says my dream ticket would be Jon Stewart or AOC 2028. Jon Stewart, okay. Orange says Westmore or bust. Rex Trek says Newsom is too centrist. And Orange says Westmore or bust. And so I like Westmore. I just don't think that, based upon Barack Obama, because that was part of the reason why we have a Donald Trump. You know, it was just too much for white folks. And so I believe that, like, America, I don't know if we're ready for another Black president.
And that's what I'm concerned with is that exactly. I'm concerned with the fact that people need to understand we have to run a candidate who can win, who can absolutely beat Donald Trump if he tries any trickery. You know, rightfully Trump should not be able to run again. But we've seen what Trump will do. He does not play by the rules.
And what he can do. Look
yes.
At what he did. He took himself out of the Epstein files. And
yes.
I mean, the way and the disregard of women,
mm-hmm.
it is nauseating to me. It really, like, disturbs me. And, you know, the saying that they're coming. Who do you think? Didn't I tell you no? Do you understand what no means? What that said to me is he has taken advantage of women, I believe. And that's
oh yes. He does. Yes.
Understand what no means.
I agree. No does not mean no to Donald Trump. It's whatever he wants.
And it probably turns him on. Like, oh, you think you gonna tell me no? I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you. I mean, and it's just, that is not how women, whether men like it or not, we are your equal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think about that when you think about a man who is a misogynist, who is obviously does not care not only about women, he doesn't care about anyone else that he doesn't feel is in his category, in his class, which we know better. Trump, if you are not a rich white man, your voice means nothing to him. He's shown us that.
Look at how he treats Bondi and
exactly.
Look at how he treats them.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just crazy.
Trump feels like everyone is in his world. Period. Yep. Yep. Where everybody is in his world, even those in his administration. If you do not comply with him, then you are disposable. You're disposable, and he will get rid of you. That is not who we need leading us, but that is who the country chose. And now we are now dealing with the repercussions of that choice.
And let's talk about the choices that he has made, which allows, other states to double down. I'm talking about women, and the things that make me nausea that white men in leadership right now are doing. And sometimes women follow suit too. Two Republican lawmakers in Tennessee are floating an amendment to an abortion bill that would bring homicide charges against expecting mothers who choose to terminate their pregnancies. You heard that right. Now, the GOP sponsors State Rep Jody Barrett and State Senator Mark Pody have now formally filed the amendment to the House and Senate bills. The bill is 570 and it's 738 in the Senate. So because of the Supreme Court gutting Roe versus Wade, because it starts, starting at the federal level, now you have states doubling down. And now as a woman deciding what to do with my body, I could be charged with murder. Whether if it's somebody like Donald Trump, who is alleged, but he's definitely in those Epstein files because even the redactions say his name. Okay, you can see through the black lines. They say his name. Somebody takes advantage of you, and I can't decide what I want to do with my body.
With your body,
I could be charged with murder.
That's the big thing for me. The big thing for me, Niele, is it's my body. I don't want anyone to tell me what I can do with my body, whether I believe in abortion or not. My personal, you can't, I don't want the government to tell me what I can do with it, because once they start telling you you can't have an abortion, then they're going to start telling you how many children you can have, whether you can have children. They're going to, that to me opens the door to too many other things that other rights that you're taking away from me. You don't have the right to tell me what to do with my body.
I haven't even watched The Handmaid's Tale, but it sounds like an episode to me, and I think that you bring up a good point. It's like, once they tell you, what you rule on the abortion, now they can tell you how many kids you can have.
They will start controlling you. That's the dictatorship. Now they're telling you what your household should be. These are the things that we can't allow anyone to have to take that right from us. It is your right. It's a personal right. Your body is your body.
Right. And as older women, we're doing this. I'm doing this for my niece. I want for her to be able to have that opportunity.
Exactly.
But women, when you see women, we're doing it not just for ourselves.
No.
We're doing it for the generations under us.
But we've always done that, Niele.
Better space. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it's just disgusting. Sometimes I'm like, and I'm not talking about all white men, but I'm talking about the Klan and those that are running this country. They are disgusting. They are vile.
We have to, one of the things I'm looking at, and the reason I'm running for mayor, is we need someone in office that is there representing all people. And unfortunately, we have lawmakers and people in government who represent a sector, a certain sector, but not everyone. So I want to make sure that when they're saying we have, there are opportunities for everyone, we are included in the everyone, because unfortunately, especially Black women, we're not part of everyone a lot of times. If there are grants, if there are opportunities, and resources, many times people who look like us do not receive those resources. I want to make sure that we are part of the conversation, and that conversation is moving all of us forward, not just, one sector. That is where I feel has been, the disconnect in this city, in San Bernardino. But I'm here to rectify that and make sure that we are moving forward and not just staying stagnant in the situations that we've been in the past.
And so, we're talking about the State of the Union. We're talking about the Epstein files, and we're talking about the midterms in this big important year as we look at what direction is this country headed in. We already know that we have a racist in chief, but Congress is up for grabs this year.
Mm-hmm.
Congress
Mm-hmm.
up for grabs,
Mm-hmm.
and we know that there are 3 branches of government, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we know that we're hearing that one of the branches, the Supreme Court, one of those justices might retire, opening the door for Donald Trump
To put somewhere.
to appoint somebody else. But think about it. If we were able to grab Congress, then we might be able to expand the court or decrease the court or put limits on the court. So it's a lot at stake.
There's a lot at stake. Unfortunately, it's low voter turnout when it's not a presidential year. We need people to vote. We need people to turn out. We need people to understand that they need to show up at the polls and they need to be educated. They need to read, learn. We need to have voter information. Like, we need people to understand what is at stake right now.
Well,
Because what you just said is important. What is at stake?
That goes to my point as we look at the midterms. California's Democratic Party held their convention over the weekend, and they didn't endorse a governor candidate. They couldn't come together to unify and endorse somebody for governor, right? I find that interesting. I don't know if I find it problematic yet, but I just find it interesting that the Democratic Party couldn't find one candidate
That they could come together on.
that the majority could vote on. And the candidates needed at least 60% of the vote from delegates at the party's convention in order to get the endorsements. So results were posted on Saturday night, and it showed no candidate. And then those results held and became official on Sunday. And I found, I heard that happened a lot with a lot of the other, candidates that are running, like for commissioner. I did hear that Mike Gibson got endorsed. But for a lot of candidates, didn't get the endorsement.
Didn't get the endorsement.
I heard Maxine Waters was up there because, now she has a viable candidate. When Republicans run against Maxine Waters, it's not really an issue. But now she has a viable candidate
That's running. Yes.
That is an African-American woman. She is known in the community. She's gone through, traditional programs and cohorts that Black women go through here in LA called Law Pack and Law
Pack.
Which allows you and it kind of positions you to be in the field of politics and civic engagement. And so it's going to be interesting. But I found it very interesting that no governor candidate was endorsed. We know that Antonio Villaraigosa is in there in that race, which used to be the mayor of LA. And another gentleman from up north, I believe he still is a superintendent, Tony Thurmond, who is an African-American male. I like him because he was a real advocate to get rid of privatized prisons here in California.
Yes. I like Tony Thurmond as well.
And so, we'll see what happens in California. But if the Democratic Party in California can't come to a conclusion about governor, how are they going to mobilize the people?
That's the problem. But that goes back. We spoke about that earlier. We have to get it together. We have to come together. The Democratic Party needs a plan. We need a plan, Mia.
They can't even have a slate. You know what I'm saying? Because they have no endorsements. And typically, you guys, the slate is when the party sends out, and then you have, of course, your Democratic clubs, but that's when they send that mailer. And this is who you vote for governor. This is who you should vote for this seat. This is who you should vote for. They don't even have a candidate to send a slate out on.
No.
I mean, it's that. And guess what this does? This opens up space for the Republican candidates for governor.
Yes, it does. It does. And that's what we've said in the past is the Republicans are doing a better job with moving their candidates forward. They're doing a better job with marketing their candidates. They're doing a better job PR. They have a stronger PR machine than the Democrats do. We need to really, tighten that up, come together, have a plan, run a slate, a clean slate. We know who we're pushing forward. Right now, we are not together. We're not, if we want to beat the Republicans.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Democrat, I mean, and this is in California, but on a national level. Like I was expecting to see for the State of the Union, I didn't see any commercials. I didn't see my phone. I got one text message about the State of the Union, but to me, there should have been from the Democratic Party, the DCCC,
A rally cry.
What is the message that you're countering as people? And I would have had them on Fox News. I would have had.
What is our message, Neil?
What is the message?
What is our message? I don't have a clear message from my party, but I want one.
I would have had commercials of Trump bombing, Caribbean islands, snatching other leaders out. I would have had ICE. I would have had a commercial for Keith Porter, Renee Good, Freddie, government, ICE, federal violence.
Yes. Pushing the narrative. Yes, but we haven't done that.
Commercial of somebody who can't afford to buy their groceries. What is the Democratic Party doing?
What is the message? What message are we sending? That's just what I don't see. I don't see that we have crafted a strategic plan to move the party forward and have viable candidates. I don't see that yet. I hope it's coming, but we see they didn't come together this weekend.
Or last night.
Or last night.
All right. I found this story interesting. So, there is a blizzard happening across the East Coast, especially in New York. And we're going to talk a lot more about that tomorrow. I mean, it's beautiful and people are getting to wear their winter clothes. But in New York, not in New York, but in Chicago, a snowplow naming contest has a political charged winner that points to ongoing frustration with President Trump's immigration agenda. More specifically, I'm talking about ICE. So according to Chicago's Street and Sanitation Department, the top 6 choices for snowplow names were Abolish ICE, Stephen Colbert, not Colbert, but Colbert, and Pope Frio. And the winner went to Abolish ICE.
Abolish ICE.
So, Abolish ICE is the new snowplow name in Chicago.
What is a snowplow contest?
Well, we wouldn't know nothing about it in sunny California, okay? But I've been watching, I've watched Governor Wes Moore be in the streets. I've watched Mandami and Brandon Scott. To me, he was the first. He's out there with the sanitation workers on social media, giving updates about, we're going to make sure these streets are plowed so you could move around. And so this is a big thing for cities that have, snow, that have snow.
Right.
The mayors and the governors are coming out and letting their constituents know that I'm not sitting inside warm and cozy. I'm out here with my sanitation workers, making sure that my constituents can get to and from wherever they go. I love that.
I love that too. I do. I love that. We need more of that. We need more government officials out with, their constituents, with making sure that the people and their residents, the people in their community are taken care of.
So I thought that was a cute thing to do. And if you guys are in the snow, chat, if you guys are in a city where there is snow, tell us about your experience and what's going on in your city and how is your mayor, visible and making sure that you could get to and from? Or have you had to plow snow out from your front door? I see a lot of those videos too, where they open the door and the snow is almost eye level and they have to put it out.
Right. No,
I can't relate.
I cannot relate to that kind of weather.
I can't either. But to lighten things up a little bit, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has unveiled their 2026 nominees, and this is a juicy list. I'm really excited about this. So there you have it. Some of the takeaways you have. So these are nominees, and now everybody is going to vote. I know you know who I'm talking about, or you know who this is, Amy. I want to get Ernie Singleton on, because he is a
he's a legend,
and he's a voter. And so I want to get him to come on and talk about this. But Greer, can you put the list up? Some of the takeaways for me were exciting. New Edition is on the nominee list. Okay. Sade, Luther Vandross, Wu-Tang Clan. And so those were Lauryn Hill, Phil Collins, Mariah Carey, the Black Crows. And so chat, you guys see what the list is. Who would you like to see crowned with the as a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer for 2026? Who would you like to see crowned? Let us know. I know for me, top off the bat, it's New Edition, Luther Vandross, Sade, Lauryn Hill, Mariah Carey. I know it can't all be black, but I'm rooting for everybody. Those are my 5.
See, mine, I want Luther Vandross. New Edition is New Edition, Luther Vandross. I want Wu-Tang. I love Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang. That would be good.
Yeah, I love Wu-Tang. Because I feel like Wu-Tang changed hip hop. What they contributed to hip hop is just special. So I want those 3, and Mariah Carey. I believe.
No Sade.
No. I know. I'm gonna get pushback. Sade, I love Sade. I had my moments with Sade, but I've never been that Sade hasn't been my person. I love the music, Is It a Crime? All of those, love them. But Lauryn Hill is my girl.
Yeah,
Lauryn Hill.
And somebody else that I would love to see is Phil Collins. I
like Phil Collins.
That was back in the 80s where it was no color lines with music.
Yes.
Like Madonna, Earth, Wind and Fire, Phil Collins. Bon Jovi.
Mm-hmm. I like Counting Crows.
Yeah, if the song was hot, it was hot. But Phil Collins and Miami Vice.
Phil Collins.
And Miami Vice.
Yes.
In hand. Yes.
I can feel it coming in the air. Yes. No, Phil Collins to me.
Miami.
No, I like Phil Collins, but New Edition, those are my boys. Love them. Love them. I want to see them get their flowers. Lauryn Hill, I think she made one of the greatest albums ever in history. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill to me is always in my top 3. It really is. It always in my top 3. And again, like I said, Luther has given us music that is timeless.
And you know what might push him over? The speech. Okay, and of course, Kendrick Lamar, SZA, and the producer, they won for Song of the Year, right?
Mm-hmm.
The speech that Kendrick and SZA and the producer gave about the intentionality of making that song with Vandross estate, I think that was just to me, that's why they deserve Song of the Year.
Yes.
Of how the intentionality of making sure, respecting the estate and not putting any cuss words in that song. And it being a tribute and an extension of Luther Vandross's legacy, he definitely deserves to be.
The music that Luther Vandross left us today, you can put on, and it's still as impactful now as it was then. That that voice, the voice and the melodies, Luther Vandross was like no other to me. And we haven't seen a Luther since then. And I don't believe he received his flowers when he was alive. I don't believe that he was ours. So the Black community loved Luther Vandross. We loved him. But I felt like after he passed away, his music expanded and it became more mainstream. Everyone learned who this great man was and this great vocalist was, but it wasn't until he was gone. So he never received that while he was alive. So I would love to see Luther.
And that documentary.
That documentary, yes.
Definitely deserves to be in the class of this year.
Yes.
Him, New Edition for sure, because the way they continue to just
New Edition.
And they're not even reinventing themselves.
No,
they are just New Edition.
New Edition, exactly. They don't have to. They never make new music again. We are happy with what they have contributed to the music industry. What they have they are the soundtrack of many of our childhoods, and they have continued to be relevant as we become, go into the next part of our lives. They're still relevant. I just went to a New Edition concert and I was screaming the whole time because it was just that good.
And they're still at a high level. And I love the brotherhood. Bobby don't move like he used to.
But that's okay.
Bonnie and Michael, they got his back.
They're there.
We'll rap for you. We're gonna keep it at the high level. We're gonna keep the crew at the high level.
Yes.
And it's just so they definitely deserve it.
I love them. I worked with them, at one point, and I loved them then. They were very professional and they did their job. They knew what their job was and they showed up and they did that. And they've continued to do so. So I definitely want to see New Edition. Again, I go back to, my list is a little staggered, but I like Counting Crows. I do, so I love music. I'm a music lover. I can talk about music all day long. I'm a music lover and I'm definitely a hip hop head. So.
And I think last one, I think Mariah Carey deserves it because she's now Miss Christmas. She's bigger than Santa Claus. Okay.
Yes.
Bigger than Santa Claus. Mariah Carey.
Mariah Carey deserves it because during her reign, no one could touch her. The music that she was putting out while she was, and this is the thing, she can still put out music. Mariah Carey can still put out new music, and I believe that it would be popular today because of that voice.
Right, but you know what? Like a New Edition, so to say, she could just stick to Christmas.
She doesn't have to.
She could just wait, because on October 31st, we're all like, is it time, Mariah?
It's time.
It's time. Let us know.
You're right. You are right. You're right.
So, I think we'll have some fun with this chat as we watch the nominees campaign until we find out who will be the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame class of 2026.
Yeah.
Being said, we have a couple of Black facts to get through today. I want to say assalamu alaikum to all of our Muslim brothers and sisters who are practicing Ramadan during this season. And we want to acknowledge on this day in 1975, the death of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad happened. And he was the longtime leader of the Nation of Islam. He died on this day in 1975 at the age of 77 in Chicago, leading to a shift in the organization's leadership. And we know that our Muslim brothers and sisters celebrated Savior's Day over the weekend. And we saw the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan speak and gave beautiful words of tribute to Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Yes.
And so today we remember the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And then finally on this day in 2012, 17-year-old Trayvon Martin was shot and killed by George Zimmerman in Sanford, Florida. And of course, if we know that that case brought about national protests, and it was the origins of the Black Lives Matter movement. And so today we remember the life and the legacy and how Trayvon Martin became, you know, such an important and still remains such an important name in our community, you know, as we continue to fight to eradicate police, state, and federal sanctioned violence. And so we remember those two important names in the Black community today.
2012?
2012.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it, but wow.
And so, of course, I'm pretty sure today on Black Press USA, there'll be some stories about, you know, the State of the Union and what's happening. So, of course, for the latest in Black news, you want to head over to blackpressusa.com. Amy, thank you for joining us, and we would love to have you back in the near future.
Neil, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to come on your show. I had a ball this morning.
Oh, wait. So how do folks know? Because, you know, just because they don't live in San Bernardino, they might want to make phone calls.
Tell a friend. Tell a friend.
They might want to, you know, contribute. There's lots of ways you can support. So tell people about your campaign and how to keep up with you.
You can you can contact us, and you can learn more about my platform at Amy Malone, 4mayor.com. Amy, A-M-Y, Malone, M-A-L-O-N-E, 4mayor.com. I need you to share this. This is a grassroots campaign. Boots on the ground. If you know someone who lives in the city of San Bernardino, please share this information. You don't have to live in San Bernardino to donate. I need donations. I need people who will phone bank for me. I just need this word to be spread, because there is a change coming to San Bernardino. And I am so excited, Nia.
All right. Well, good luck. And I'm
Thank
here.
you.
Me. And we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace and love.